Did you know that BioShock was originally a 2D game from 1995? Me neither. That's because it wasn't. What you're seeing right now on screen is actually me trying to recreate BioShock as a 2D game. Originally, I had a simple plan. I was just gonna take the first 5 minutes of shooting splicers, recreate it in Unity, and hooray, I've impressed the internet. Then I realized something. The entire BioShock series is kind of built on a beautiful foundation, and that is, those games have incredible introductions. So it'd kind of be a disservice to not create the introduction to Rapture. Now, believe it or not, the legendary intro was not even in the original game. Ken Levine had to quickly throw that together to help bring some context to the game. Now, in order to create the introduction, obviously, we gotta create a 2D Jack. Because the camera is pretty far away from the protagonist in Unity, his design can actually be pretty simplistic. Anything more complicated is gonna look pretty messy in Unity. The only real detail is the Seafarer shirt, and bam, you got Jack. This thing is so hot, I can't do this. So I began illustrating the lighthouse at the crash site in Photoshop. I started with a 3840 by 2160 canvas, that's 4K, and I wanted to match the colors of the game exactly, so I simply just took a screenshot, stole the hex values, and used those complementary colors to create a beautiful scene. Now, ever since I was 13 years old, my approach to 2D game art has always been kind of minimal. I start with a few colors, super simplistic shapes, and I add detail slowly. If I start too complex, I kind of get lost and I end up giving up. Trust me, I'm a layman when it comes to 2D art, and as you can see, anyone with just few simple shapes like a rectangle, a few triangles, you can create a breathtaking scene. Now, in my opinion, this simplistic art technique pays off, so be sure to stick around to the end of the video to experience the full dive into Rapture. I polished off the scene in Unity with a $20 asset called 2D Water and also a $10 particle kit called Toon Fire. So what do you think? Did I accomplish the crash scene? Let me know in the comments below, and would you kindly feel free to leave a like, and also would you kindly be sure to subscribe, and would you kindly be sure to hit the notification bell? Would you kindly? The most challenging scene was actually the inside of the lighthouse. I started with a massive golden head of Andrew Ryan, and believe it or not, illustrating a giant golden head is kind of challenging, especially with just this simple mouse. The trick here is starting with a generic head shape and just using gradients to create shadows and highlights. Now here's a quick trick. Putting dark shadows next to really bright highlights can make your scene really pop. It makes it look three-dimensional. Believe it or not, this trick is accomplished with just the marquee tool and the gradient tool. That's about all I used for Andrew Ryan's head. Now I was feeling kind of proud about my artwork, so I asked my wife to come into my office. She saw the 3D BioShock original game first, and then showered me with praise. She thought I made that. No, honey, this is what I made. So I took to Twitter instead to see what they thought, and
Ryan's lips be smacking.
Doubled down, I spent a couple hours on the bathysphere at the bottom of the lighthouse. I incorporated the Photoshop layers into my 2D game kit, threw in some of Unity's 2D lights, and presto, we're ready to descend into the 2D abyss. There's a common trope with a lot of classic Super Nintendo games. They take something very simple, like, say, a song from The Lion King, and they turn it into a ridiculously hardcore, frustrating puzzle sequence that makes absolutely no sense.
If I die, I'm fighting somebody. I swear. Oh my!
So obviously, I had to do just that for BioShock's introduction to Rapture. I transformed the gorgeous submersion sequence into, wait for it, a Flappy Bird challenge. Before I built the mechanics, which let's be honest is just smashing the spacebar, spent 8 hours replicating BioShock's layer after layer after layer after layer of Art Deco sea scrapers in Photoshop. I then took screenshots of the various neon signs and I replicated them in a minimalistic vector art style. Now, with the help of a for loop that honestly I don't even remember how I made it or what it even means, but this was from my Cyberpunk 2D game. And as you can see, I've taken advantage of Unity's particle system and I just put it into the scene and we have that parallax effect. Now, a lot like the Utopia of Rapture, this is all just a lie. All it is the layers simply move at different speeds relative to the camera's movement to simulate a parallax effect. And just like that, Flappy Shock was born. And hey, why not polish off the scene by stealing Gary Scheiman's entire score and Amir Scheimerman's voice acting?
We can talk about it later if you like.
And there you go. This never gets old, does it? Last but certainly not least, I created the interior of Rapture. A funny thing happens with gamers today, especially for you spoiled rotten Zoomers. Sorry. Gamers simply run past the gorgeous level of detail that cost millions of dollars to create. In a strange way, the cost of a digital building is similar to an actual real building. It wasn't until I began replicating the architecture in Photoshop that I now kind of understand why BioShock cost a whopping $25 million to make. This interior alone took me a full 8 hours to create, and this is perhaps just 1% of what we see in the original game. And the elephant in the room is that this is just 2D. Finally, I quickly duplicated Jack's T-pose into a thuggish splicer, took advantage of my code for my Cyberpunk remake, and of course this project would have been an entire waste of time had I not also created Big Daddy and Little Sister. And then bought a Five Guys cheeseburger to celebrate the completion of this BioShock remake. Guys, this project was honestly way more work than I expected. My respect for Ken Levine and his massive team at 2K has deepened by about, 100 fathoms. That's like 600 feet. So yeah, it's deepened a lot. All right, let's go ahead and play the game. And just remember, guys, if you want to join my 2D art program, feel free to click below to take advantage of that massive 50% off sale event that's available for the next 5 days. All right, let's play Super BioShock.
artist would not fear the censor, where the scientist would not be bound by petty morality, where the great would not be constrained by the small. And with the sweat of your brow, Rapture can become your city as well.
Look, Mr. Bubbles, it's an angel. I can see light coming from his belly.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. Would you kindly leave a like if you felt like I did a good job on this game, and be sure to subscribe for more videos like this. I like to recreate games in Unity, so let me know in the comments below if you want me to make another game. And don't forget about that 2D game kit below, totally free, my treat to you. Cheers, guys.